Nearly 20 years ago, Hyundai introduced a new subcompact SUV to America called the Tucson. Now, technically, the Tucson was about a decade late to the small SUV party, joining the Toyota RAV4 and Honda CR-V. However, in the last 5 years, this model has quickly become the company's bestseller, with Hyundai moving about 150,000 units in America in 2021. Now, last year, they introduced an all-new version of the Tucson. It was the first time we ever saw an electrified option. I had a chance to drive the regular version and, of course, the hybrid. As you can see, however, this week, Hyundai has loaned me the 2022 Tucson plug-in hybrid. It's the first time that we're ever getting a Tucson with a plug, and just like the regular hybrid, this combines a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 6-speed automatic. However, now we have a beefed-up rear electric motor and a larger battery pack, which means we can go up to 33 miles on a full charge. So if you guys have been looking for a new family compact SUV that offers a ton of space and electric-only range, how does the all-new Tucson plug-in hybrid stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling of the all-new 4th generation Tucson plug-in hybrid, I want to remind you guys what's underneath the hood. Now, if you're looking for the most powerful and the most fuel efficient, the plug-in hybrid is the one you're going to want to buy. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, we have a combination of a 1.6-liter gasoline direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's very unique in the segment because the gas engine is actually turbocharged, and it's also paired up with a 64-kilowatt electric motor, paired up with a 6-speed automatic transmission. That 6-speed auto makes it super unique because most competitors in this segment use an eCVT, something like the Toyota RAV4 Prime or hybrid, or the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid or regular hybrid all use a CVT. Combined output figures are pretty good. 261 horsepower total. Combined output, the gas engine offers around 180 on its own. The electric motor offers about 90 horsepower on its own, and combined torque is around 258 pound-feet, which again is pretty good. This makes it the most powerful Tucson that Hyundai has ever offered. They don't quote 0 to 60 performance, but we brought our testing equipment. We're going to see what we can get. Remember, because of the 13.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack, this does make it the heaviest Tucson in the lineup. This model here weighs in at just over 4,200 pounds. Fuel economy, when you're running it on the gas engine, is about 35 mpg combined. It's rated to get 80 mpge. The mpge figure is a combined figure that marries the gas and the electric outputs together to give you an mpge figure. However, it's a really weird number because electric vehicles are measured in kilowatts, not in miles per gallon. Towing capacity, if you guys are planning to tow, this will actually tow a maximum of 2,000 pounds. And like I said earlier, it weighs in at just over 4,200 pounds. Now, taking a look at the styling of the 2022 Tucson plug-in hybrid. First of all, if you're looking at the front fascia of this car and you think you can tell it's a plug-in hybrid by looking at it, you're not going to be able to, because Hyundai has essentially kept everything the same at the front fascia. There aren't even any closed off grills or anything like that, or unique badging. You'll be able to tell this is a limited because of the grille. Remember, this body or this design language is introduced on this all-new 4th generation. Part of that Cascade style waterfall grille. The Limited also has the premium LED daytime running lights, where you can see this running light here almost looks like it's part of the grille. It's a really interesting design feature, along with the LED headlights, which are split from the actual running lights. You can see LED low and high beams. No fog lights. The Limited has a blacked out or dark chrome Hyundai badge, as you can see with the front camera. That's what you get with this model. And then you can see the LED turn signal is down here. It's kind of hidden within the LEDs, the LED running lights. And overall, it's a really cool design. This particular one that I'm showing you looks like it's painted in black. However, this is called Deep Sea Metallic. It's a really, really dark blue. It certainly looks like the same color as deep within the ocean. It definitely gives this car a premium look to it. And what I really love about the new Tucson is Hyundai went all out with this generation to make it significantly larger, which addressed the criticism of the previous model. It's about 6 inches longer overall, with an overall length of around 182.3 inches long, 108.5 inch long wheelbase. Makes it longer than something like the Toyota RAV4 and the Ford Escape. However, something like the Kia Sorento is a little bit larger than this vehicle because it now rides on the same N3 platform, the same one that it shares with the Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, looking at the wheels, even the plug-in hybrid gets the same wheels as the gas version. I was kind of expecting Hyundai to give us a slightly different design to the wheel. However, I love the kind of geometric shape to it. It's a 19-inch wheel wrapped in a 235/55 R19 tires. You can see the cladding here is non-painted, which gives it a little bit more of a rugged appearance. If you guys go for an N-line, you can get the cladding painted. However, they don't offer the N-line package on the plug-in hybrid. I kind of think that Hyundai should consider that. Ground clearance is just over 7 inches, so you can do some light off-roading in this vehicle, but some competitors like the RAV offer a little bit more ground clearance. Now, looking at the side profile here, you can see a lot of geometric shapes, especially in the body panels, which gives it a unique look. I love the really well integrated turn signal mirrors, the low profile roof rails. The Limited comes standard with this big panoramic glass roof, which lets in a lot of light. And then you can see there's this interesting chrome piece here that kind of goes along the D pillar, which kind of gives it, again, a really interesting shape. Looking at the rear, the taillight design of this car is very distinctive. In fact, I love seeing these out on the road because they just look so modern. They look so high tech. I love the look of the taillights where you have a full length LED brake lights. However, down here you can see the turn signal is an incandescent. I would have liked to see Hyundai do a full LED for the taillight. And then this is your only indication of the plug-in model. The fact that it says plug-in right there, it even has the standard H-Track all-wheel drive system, which is standard equipment. It actually uses a mechanical linkage between the front engine, or the gas engine, and the actual rear axle. The electric motor lives on the back axle. So again, very conventional thinking here. The rear wiper blade is cleverly hidden underneath the rear spoiler. It almost looks like it doesn't have a wiper blade. And then you can see the Hyundai logo here isn't actually raised. It's behind this piece of plexiglass, which gives it a pretty interesting design. Now, the tailgate is that hands-free feature where if you stand back here with the fob, it'll actually open it up, but you can see power liftgate is included on this trim. And then the cargo area of the Tucson has been made significantly larger this year. You get around 32 cubic feet of space, so the plug-in hybrid does have slightly less. If you fold down the seats, it expands it out to 66 cubic feet of space, which is about on par with the Toyota RAV4 Prime. You can see the seats fold down in a 64 mirror. You can just basically pull that lever. The seat will fold down automatically, which is definitely nice how they give you a release back here. The floor isn't completely flat, but again, yeah, it is a very usable amount of space. And then underneath here, you can see there's your level 1 charger, your kind of emergency charger, which most of you can probably actually get away with just charging this vehicle on a level 1. And then there's no spare tire underneath here, but you can kind of take out this little tray and get a little bit more space. Now, in terms of charging, you can see opening up the charge port, it's on the passenger side on the rear. And this vehicle comes standard, of course, with the J1772 plug. It has an onboard charger of 7.2 kilowatts. That's actually faster than the charger that you find on the RAV4 Prime, and that's the optional charger, which means you can basically find a level 2 charger, and this thing will fast charge on a level 2 from 0 to 100% in about 2 hours, which is pretty quick. Most of you, however, are probably going to charge it on a level 1, and that'll take roughly 10 hours to charge. Remember, because it's a plug-in hybrid, there is no DC fast charging option. So the exterior of the plug-in hybrid of the Tucson doesn't look all that different from all the other Tucson members. However, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior. Before we get inside, however, I want to show you guys the key fob. Here is the current key fob that Hyundai has been using. You can see this limited grade includes the intelligent access key, and it also has the smart park feature. The smart park feature basically allows you to remote start the vehicle from the fob. You can see once I put the lock button, push this button here, the engine will turn on. And then once the engine is turned on, I can actually push this button here. And if I'm standing close to the vehicle, you can see it will actually move forward for me as long as I'm holding the button here, which is great for moving the vehicle in and out of really tight parking spots or a really small garage. You can see, push the other button here. It will also move backwards in reverse, which again, it's kind of a cool gimmick, but it's really great to find it in this class of vehicle. You're not gonna find this in any other vehicle besides the Hyundai and Kia and Genesis family. And if you wanna just shut the engine off, you can kind of just push that button over here. You can also use your phone as a key via their digital key function, which is standard on the Limited. However, this is the first generation digital key, so it doesn't work on iPhone, only works on Android phones, but Hyundai just introduced that on the 2023 Palisade. Now, opening up the door and getting inside, you can see the deep sea metallic exterior of my tester is complemented by this really nice gray leather interior. The Limited includes the leather. These are also a heated and ventilated seat, which is nice. You can see it includes a 12-way power adjustment for the driver's side and 2-person memory. You can see the gray is also splashed onto the door panel, where you have a soft touch injection molded plastic here, some piano black plastic trim. I like the design of the door panel as well. There's also a padded area over here where your elbows would rest, and then cup holders and storage down here on the lower part of the door panel. This is also hard touch plastic. And then of course, with around 7 inches of ground clearance, the step in height is very easy for this vehicle. So you kind of just fall into the vehicle really easily. And then if you shut the door, or when you shut the door, it has a nice solid sounding thunk. Now the button to fire up the engine is right over here where you'd expect it to be. I also like how it's not blocked by the steering wheel from my point of view. And then you can see the Limited comes with the upgraded screens here. So if you guys go for an SEL, you get a smaller 8-inch display and a not fully digital display in the instrument panel. You can see the Limited includes two 10.25-inch displays. There's one over here, one over here. Hyundai says the screens themselves are very high clarity, high resolution. They're very bright, which is why there's no hood panel or instrument panel hood over the center stack over here over the instrument panel. You can see the door panels or the dash materials here are also soft touch injection molded plastic. Your window controls, the front windows are automatic up touch, one down. The rear are not one touch. Would have liked to see Hyundai just give us one touch for all four. And then the steering wheel, you can see here, it's the current design of Hyundai steering wheel. You can see it's a 4-spoke design. The wheel itself is a manual tilt and telescoping. It gives you a good amount of adjustability and range, so you can kind of get comfortable pretty easily. You have all your controls for your audio, for your cruise control. It's got paddle shifters for the 6-speed auto, and then the horn sounds pretty good. It's typical, or it's nice sounding for this size of vehicle. It doesn't sound puny like what I've heard in some competitors, which is good. And then over here on the rest of the dash, you can see there's this interesting fabric material that's kind of carried over onto the door panels. This is also a soft touch injection molded plastic. I like the color of this gray. It's kind of more like a cream or like a chalk color, which is definitely nice. Better versus the black interior. Hyundai basically only offers black or this light gray, which looks good. You can see there's the Apple CarPlay. It is not wireless, however. I have to actually plug in my phone down here. If you guys go for the smaller 8-inch display, it will include wireless CarPlay. However, this model here, you have to plug it in. You can see it offers a split screen design. You can also go into the settings. You can also make this CarPlay full screen, which is nice. Once I go back to the full screen here, or the regular Hyundai display, you can see all your usual sources and whatnot. You have an actual embedded GPS function in this car, which is nice. And then you also have a PHEV page here that'll show you energy flow, how much battery power it has, how much charge or range it has remaining. It shows you where the power is going. So again, all very useful stuff. And then one thing that I like about the Limited as well is when you go over into this setup here, this vehicle actually has ambient lighting for up to 64 different colors. And it looks fairly nice at night. It's very unusual in this segment. So most competitors don't offer that kind of premium touch. I like the fact that Hyundai is throwing in that little premium upscale feature, but only if you guys go for the Limited. You can actually see the lighting there is kind of reflecting off of my phone. Now down here you can see, what I don't like, however, about the Limited are the touch sensitive buttons over here. You can see it's touch sensitive for the volume as well. If you guys go for the lower screen, I believe it has a volume knob, but this, to me, there should have just been a knob. I wish that Hyundai had just given us a knob. They wanted to go with a more cleaner look, of course, with the touch sensitive panels. You have dual zone climate control, which again, these are all touch sensitive. That's okay, but I really would have preferred a volume knob. You can also just use the volume toggle over here on the wheel. And then you can see this particular Limited also has ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel, which is nice. You also have a full 360 camera. You can see you can also put the vehicle in reverse, or you can also push the camera button. This is all really great resolution and high quality stuff here, which is going to make parking this car a lot easier. And the graphics are better versus what I've seen in the Toyota RAV4 and RAV4 Hybrid and Prime. Over here is your drive mode selector. You can see there's a choice of 4 different modes. There's an Eco, Sport, Smart, and Snow. I'll show the different modes when we go out into the driving scene. Most of you are probably just going to drive the vehicle in either Eco or Smart. If you put it in Sport, it actually will force the gas engine to come on more often to give us that more sportier feel. Your push button transmission selector is over here. You can see there's a 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive lock button here, because it actually has a mechanical all-wheel drive system. There's also an EV and a hybrid and electric mode and an automatic mode that you can kind of cycle between. If you put it in Sport, the electric mode is disabled because, again, the car is going to assume you want to get the best possible range. Electronic parking brake here, along with 2 cup holders, some piano black plastic trim. And then you can see here, storage cubby here is very deep, which is nice. Most of my camera gear fits in there. And then the seats, like I said earlier, are pretty comfortable and supportive. Like the color of the leather, the cooled seat also works really well. This passenger seat here, however, is just a 4-way power. And then you can see the Limited includes LED lighting over here. And then if you open this up, you can see massive panoramic glass roof that goes pretty much all the way to the back, gives you an unobstructed view. This is standard on the Limited grade, not even available again on some competitors, or it's a pretty expensive upcharge. And then you can see here the glove box is pretty big. It's damped but not lined with felt. So really the only tech feature that I'm noticing it's missing here is wireless CarPlay and a heads-up display. You can get that in some competitors, but overall the Tucson gives you one of the nicest cabins in the business. And I also really like the Bose upgraded stereo you get with this trim. It sounds really good. It sounds better versus some of the competitors' premium sound systems. Checking out the back seat of the plug-in hybrid version of the Tucson, because Hyundai stretched the wheelbase by 3 inches versus the previous generation, you do have one of the larger back seats in the segment. You can see the two-tone look here is carried over on the back. The door panel here, sadly, is a hard touch injection molded plastic, so they downgraded there. However, you can see it's padded right here where your elbows are going to rest, and then Hyundai even throws in 2-level heated seats as standard on the limited grade version. The seats themselves also have a recline function. There's a lever here where you can recline the seats. They also fold down. They don't slide forward and back, but when you get back here, you can see there's around 39.5 inches of legroom. Now, I'm 5'7", so I can get comfortable back here really easily. The floor is not completely flat, but it's pretty darn close. So for the middle passenger, you should be able to get, a decent amount of space. And then you get 2 storage pockets over here. You have rear seat air vents, and then you have 2 USB-A charging ports. The seats themselves, you can see there's an armrest in the center that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders. And then when you want to fold this seat back, you can see it actually reclines a fairly good amount. So that's really good for getting comfortable. So if you guys are looking for a back seat that can accommodate car seats, that can accommodate your tall adult friends, the Tucson is now one of the largest offerings in the segment. All right, so here we are in the first ever plug-in hybrid version of the Tucson. I mean, Hyundai's been building this car for a while now. We're now in the 4th generation. This is the first time we're seeing not 1, but 2 electrified variants of the Tucson. They didn't even offer a hybrid in the past. Now that I've had a chance to drive the hybrid and the regular gas engine, it's now time to get behind the wheel of the plug-in hybrid. And this is the model that competes with the Toyota RAV4 Prime, the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid, and there's also the Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid. This powertrain is also shared with the Sorento. When I first drove it in the Sorento, the bigger vehicle that's about 300 pounds heavier than this, I was impressed with the overall package, but I also thought it was a little rough around the edges. So the Tucson's a lighter vehicle. It goes 33 miles on a full charge. We have about 99% battery right now and about 261 horsepower, the same power rating. So let's go ahead and test out what we can get 0 to 60 wise in this vehicle. I have it in sport. It's got a full tank of gas and it's almost got a full charge as well. It says 100%. Let's go ahead and brake torque it and see what we can get. Which doesn't really do much. Really short shifts. 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. Okay, that's a smidge faster than what I got in the Sorento plug-in hybrid. I was kind of expecting it to be a little faster, and it is. I mean, 0.1 seconds is certainly an improvement, but I was kind of hoping it would break into the 6-second range and get like 6.8 or something like that. But still, this is the quickest accelerating version of the Tucson. I think the regular hybrid is probably around a half a second slower than this. The gas engine only Tucson is a dog. That one takes like 9.5 seconds. So clearly, if you're looking for a Tucson that offers the most acceleration, the quickest acceleration, you're going to want this one because all the other ones can feel a little bit lethargic. But let's go ahead and try that one more time, see what we can get here. This time I'm not going to brake torque it, I'm just going to floor it. Really short shifts so early. Wow, 7.5 seconds there. That's with going slightly uphill. So down there where it's on more level surface is probably the more accurate time. Again, nobody buys plug-in hybrids to go fast, although the Toyota RAV4 Prime is the speed demon at 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, which is just absolutely insane considering this car's family car, mission. But other than that, the plug-in hybrid model is the heaviest version of the Tucson, and it also, because of the 13.8 kilowatt-hour battery pack, it's going to kind of center the weight low into the floor, so the center of gravity is lower. It should theoretically give us the most stable handling, and this car certainly feels that way. I mean, driving the car in sport mode here, it drives more like a traditional hybrid in sense where it'll barely run on electric only, even though I've got a full charge. This is the difference between this car and something like the RAV4 Prime, which the Toyota, when you have the battery charged, it actually will drive like an electric car. I can put it in sport and it'll drive purely on electric only. The gas engine will not turn on, which is not the case for this car. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the drive mode here into the eco mode. Now when you put it into the eco mode here, this allows the vehicle to allows me to kind of select an EV mode, electric mode. So that should try to lock out the gas engine as much as it can. But remember, I've got the energy flow monitor here showing that what power source it's running on. And if I push the accelerator too hard, it will turn on the gas engine. But other than that, the driving dynamic is fine. The ride quality is good. The 19-inch wheels provide good cushion. The suspension soaks up the bumps quite nicely. And you just get a sense that you're driving a very premium car, something that's a really great daily driver, and that's the whole point of something like this. But we'll go ahead and we'll put our foot down here. You can feel the gas engine came on there, and it actually will shift. That 6-speed auto is just a really lethargically slow shifting transmission. It'll actually shift when you have it in EV mode, which is really weird to feel in a vehicle that's supposed to be electric to have shifts. But I think that's part of the reason why an eCVT is a better application for a hybrid. You just get better efficiency, better acceleration. And this 6-speed auto, I think, is really holding this car back. Now, I just want to try it one more time here on this level road and see what we can get. We'll brake torque it again. See if we can even get to 60 in time. 7.03 seconds there. So I'm going to go ahead and take that time of around 7 seconds, 0 to 60. It is slightly quicker than the Escape plug-in hybrid, although I haven't technically driven that. That's just what I've read in terms of numbers. But seriously, Hyundai could make this car a lot more interesting by beefing up the electric motor, giving us more or bigger battery pack. I mean, the electric motor itself only provides 90 horsepower. That's half the power output of what you get out of the Toyota RAV4 Prime. I like how this car at least has all-wheel drive. It's their mechanical H-track all-wheel drive system, and it has a physical connection between the engine and the rear drive shaft, but there is an electric motor on the back axle that's kind of assisting, giving us that extra 90 horsepower boost. It's perfectly fine, and this vehicle is smooth enough. Most of you are probably going to leave it in the smart drive mode or the eco drive mode, and you're just going to drive this vehicle, you know, like a commuter car, and it does a really good job at that. The brakes, they don't have that weird hybrid feel or regen feel, but I wish this car offered some form of one pedal drive or like regen braking. It has some, but these paddles here control the actual transmission gear ratios, not the level of regen braking, which would have been nice. The visibility out of here is really good. Most of the driver assistance tech is standard on this car, although I really suggest you spring for the limited grade because I love these leather seats, which are ventilated. You get this big panoramic sunroof. The tech in this car is great, although again, Hyundai and Kia are missing wireless CarPlay. But if you go for the SEL trim, the base trim of this car, you'll get the smaller 8-inch display, and that throws in the wireless CarPlay, but you also have to deal with the smaller head unit. And the rest of the interior is relatively quiet. The engine actually doesn't get super buzzy. That's the one thing about the RAV4 Prime. I keep coming back to that because that is the benchmark in this segment. The Toyota has a buzzier engine when the engine does kick on, but you can kind of defeat that by just driving it in pure electric only, which this car obviously offers you the ability to do so. Like right now, the gas engine is off. I put my foot down here. It's still off. It's still off. Once I go like basically full throttle though, you hear the gas engine comes on, the transmission will shift or downshift, and it's giving you that full 261 horsepower. So overall, I think I like the plug-in hybrid in this application. You really feel that it struggles less under the weight of this car. And in terms of fuel economy and range, this car was showing about 33 miles on a full charge, which is bang on with the EPA's numbers. In my week's worth of testing, I was able to actually test this in the real world in really ideal conditions, about 85 degrees outside, sunny, and I was getting right around 30 to 35 miles of range, depending on, you know, like if I was driving in more traffic conditions, I was getting better range, more highway, was getting less range. So pretty good numbers, although, again, its main competitor, the RAV4 Prime, goes about 42 miles, and you can theoretically go about 50. When I owned one of those for a year, I noticed it was actually doing better than the targets. In terms of actual fuel economy, this car was averaging around 32 mpg when you were driving in like a hybrid, a little bit less than the EPA's numbers, but again, if you guys drove it more conservatively, you might get a slightly better fuel economy number. Full range for this car is around 400 miles, which again, down significantly compared to the RAV4 Prime. So that's, again, something to keep in mind. I do think that Hyundai is charging a reasonable upcharge over this car versus the regular hybrid, but keep in mind, because of the new EV tax bill that's likely going to be passed any day now as of this filming, this car will no longer qualify for the federal tax credit of around $6,600, so that is going to jack the price up, whereas in the past, this car, theoretically, with the tax credit, could be cheaper than the regular hybrid, and now it's about a $5,000 upcharge versus the standard Tucson hybrid. Now, with around 150,000 units sold here in America last year, the Tucson nameplate is now Hyundai's best-selling vehicle, and it's pretty easy to see why. After spending a week with the plug-in hybrid model, remember, this all-new 4th generation really was redesigned to cater to American taste. The interior is incredibly roomy, incredibly comfortable, and full of the latest tech features. The exterior styling of this car also stands out in a very good way. I actually think this car looks better than most of its competitors, and it also looks better on the outside to me versus the Kia Sportage, the sister vehicle to this car. However, I do think the Kia has a slightly nicer interior design in terms of the orientation of the screens. There are a couple of quibbles with this vehicle. The plug-in hybrid in general, I think, is worth the extra $5,000 charge. I mean, I do wish it offered a little bit more electric-only range and even quicker acceleration and the ability to drive on EV power alone, especially when the battery is fully charged. But remember, this car is significantly cheaper than something like the Toyota RAV4 Prime. If you are looking to purchase this model here, it starts at around $35,000, about $10,000 more versus the gas-only Tucson, and about $5,000 more versus the regular hybrid version. And that's before, any kind of state incentives. There was a 6587 federal tax credit on this car. However, because the Tucson is no longer built in the US, or is not built in the US, and with that new EV tax law that's going into place, this no longer qualifies. So hopefully Hyundai will move production of this car to one of their assembly plants in Alabama so it can qualify for all those federal tax credits. But overall, the limited model here that I'm showing you is stickers for just under $45,000, around $44,800. It represents an $8,000 premium over the SEL model. Now, I think it's actually a worthy upcharge to go with the Limited because you get features like the pano sunroof, the leather, the heated and ventilated seats, the upgraded Bose stereo. There are no options to add aside from destination and some accessories. This deep sea blue metallic is also a really nice color combination. So 45 grand makes it about 5 grand cheaper versus a Toyota RAV4 Prime. But about $5,000 more expensive versus the regular hybrid. Do I think the plug-in hybrid is worth it over the regular hybrid, especially without the federal tax credit? I do think that it is, especially if you guys drive more conservatively versus myself and your commute to and from work is less than 20 miles. This is definitely going to fit the bill there, and you can also kind of charge this vehicle for a lot less versus charging it at a public station or filling up with gas. So that's kind of one of the beauties about going with a plug-in hybrid vehicle. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 Hyundai Tucson plug-in hybrid. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.